Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. We got the latest Browns news and rumors for you guys today. I know it's the off season. Things are a bit dry, but that's fine. We got plenty of stuff to talk about today, believe it or not. And we love to use our Bernie Kosar heads as a scale of believability when it comes to some of these topics, because in the off season, things can get outlandish, things can get out of control. So Bernie helps us out with 0 Bernie heads, meaning fake news, 4 Bernie heads being Believeland, and we sometimes fall somewhere in between. Now, the first topic on today's show, the Browns. Are they going to be drafting a defensive tackle in round 2? I'm going to give it 3 Bernie heads. The only reason it's not 4 Bernie heads is because the draft is so dependent on how free agency goes, right? What team needs are filled the month before the draft in free agency. Well, that impacts what the teams draft in the NFL draft then. So we're going to run through some interesting mock draft roundups because a handful of, one, it's a bummer anytime like Todd McShay or Mel Kiper drops a mock draft because they discriminate. They only go 1 round. That's so weak. What about those of us not picking in round 1? It's unbelievable. But there are some brave souls out there that venture into rounds 2 and 3 of the draft. So we're going to round up all the latest NFL mock drafts and see how they had the Browns picking. So ESPN and a lot of other spots had them go Mozzie Smith, NFL.com as well, Fantasy Pros. The 33rd team had the Browns selecting Javon Dexter, the defensive tackle out of Florida. Then we had 2 draft outlets, Draft Tech and Walter Football, go Lucas Van Ness, the defensive tackle, really defensive lineman out of Iowa. And Pro Football Network had Will McDonald going to the Browns, another defensive lineman out of Iowa State. Now, the 2 most common names there were Smith and Van Ness. So when we compared their stats head-to-head in 2022, it looks kind of lopsided, right? 7 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks for Van Ness. Why wouldn't you pick him? Here's why. I think Smith is actually the better option for what the Browns need right now. He is a massive boulder of a human being. He is tough to move. He displaces people. So if you're looking for a run-stopping defensive tackle, nose tackle type of guy, Smith is your guy. Now, under Andrew Berry, his defensive tackle picks have been a little undersized, but leaning more on speed and agility and quickness than your 300-pound monsters who just gobble up a center and a guard and are there to not really fill up the stat sheet, but allow linebackers to do their job better. And I think Smith is really more what the Browns need than another Perion Winfrey pass-rushing type defensive lineman, which Van Ness offers. And Van Ness, I think, could be a very good player, and I wouldn't be upset with that pick. But if the Browns don't check the box of run-stopping defensive tackle in the draft, then I think Smith is their guy. Now, he does have some, I think baggage is putting it lightly. He pleaded guilty, if I remember correctly, to a misdemeanor back in December. So there's going to have to be some background checks, to say the least, by NFL clubs on Smith. But if he passes everyone's tests and whatnot, he could be a good second-round pick for Cleveland. But who is it? Who do you want the Browns to go out and get with pick number 42 in the draft? Tell me in the comments section below. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet already, this is the Browns off-season channel for you. So subscribe today, hit that sub button, help us grow so we can get more Browns content out to the dog pound. Subscribe for the best free Cleveland Browns content all off-season long right here. Next up on the show, Lamar Jackson. Is he leaving the AFC North? I'm going to give it 2 Bernie heads, right? I think we're kind of in the middle right now. It feels like it could go either way, and people shouldn't be blown away if it does happen. So here's the background on the status of Lamar Jackson. Ian Rappaport put out a very interesting article not long ago where he said that the Ravens and Lamar Jackson are about $100 million apart. Now, that's likely in guaranteed money. That seems to be what's holding up the two sides on getting a contract done. Lamar Jackson wants the Deshaun Watson guarantees. The Ravens are not biting at that. Now, Another interesting thing was that Jordan Schultz reported this yesterday, and I want to share with you guys, that offensive coordinators candidates who interviewed with the Ravens were not given the full assurances that Lamar Jackson will be the quarterback next season. So I definitely feel that wherever you were a month, 2 months ago about Lamar, you should believe that it is more likely now that he will get traded. At the very minimum, he's getting franchise tagged. The first day that's possible, the Ravens are slapping it on him so he can't go test free agency, right? They're not letting him walk out the building. But if they tag him, there's the tag and trade. And if a team like the Falcons calls, right? When we look at this tweet here about the updated top odds for next team for Lamar Jackson, if he leaves the Ravens, the Falcons at plus 300 would make a lot of sense. I don't know if they're really all in on Desmond Ridder, and they are a franchise that's had stable quarterback play for almost 2 decades. From Michael Vick to Matt Ryan, they haven't entered what Browns fans know as the quarterback carousel. They might want to just jump ship and just trade all the picks they have for Lamar so they get another proven quarterback. At the end of the day, the Ravens are a smart organization, whether we like them or not. I think they'll get a deal done. They just seem too smart to let Lamar walk out the door. But $100 million is a long runway to be a part on. And if neither side budges and they franchise tag him and they negotiations come to a grinding halt because Lamar wants 200 plus guaranteed and the Ravens are nowhere near that, well, what if Lamar says, I'm not playing on the tag, figure it out? And the Falcons call on draft day and say, we'll give you 3 first-rounders and 2 seconds for Lamar. Tell me the Ravens wouldn't think long and hard about that, knowing they are not a franchise that usually gives out huge bags of money. So what say you? Will Lamar play for Baltimore in 2023? Predict it for me. Yes or no? Really curious what you think about this one in the comment section. Final segment on today's show. ESPN. Are they disrespecting the Browns? I'm going to give it 2 Bernie heads. 2 Bernie heads. And I'll tell you why. Because the story really comes from, we'll look at in a second, is power rankings. And they did not do the Browns a lot of justice. But first, today's sponsor, Fanatics, has an awesome deal for the dog pound. This really cool retro shirt is on sale at chatsports.com/CLE shirt. I put that link for everyone in the comments and the description of today's show. It's February, so it's still a bit cold out there, but spring's around the corner. So rock some gear for your favorite team down in the comments down by getting this brown shirt and getting the link in the comment section. And you get to wear some awesome Browns retro t-shirts on sale thanks to Fanatics over at chatsports.com/CLE shirt. All right. Now, getting back to the ESPN segment of today's show. Cleveland is disrespected by the folks in Bristol. ESPN ranked the Browns 19th in their way too early 2023 NFL power rankings. Let's look at those power rankings. 1 through 10, I think 1 through 5 is fine. Chiefs, Eagles, Niners, Bengals, like that's the AFC and NFC championship games right there. I've got no qualms with that. Bills at 5 makes sense. Cowboys at 6, I think it's a little bit too high, but they did win a playoff game, whatever. Chargers at 7, sure. Dolphins at 8, all right, I can buy it. Vikings at 9, maybe a little bit. Shout out to ESPN, though, for putting the Jags at 10. They easily could have disrespected them, but it took some kahunas to not just pick a bigger market team, but they rolled with Trevor Lawrence and the Jags at 10. Moving on, though. There are the Browns at 19. Who's ahead of them? The Ravens at 11. That's fine. I'm not going to really pitch a fit over that. The Lions at 12. All right. It's big leap ahead of the Browns, but that's not really what I'm going to, stake my flag on. Seahawks at 13. I get it. Seattle made the playoffs last year. The Browns didn't. Let me ask you this question. Seahawks, Browns, 2023. If they're playing week 1, who you got? I'm taking the Browns. Steelers 14. It's hard to really get upset since they won week 18, but whatever. Giants at 15. I think they're going to fall off a little bit, but it is what it is. Packers at 16. Patriots at 17. Patriots did beat up on the Browns, so, can't really do a whole lot other than just accept that. The Commanders at 18. That I don't get at all. I don't understand how Washington is one spot ahead of Cleveland when they played, week 16, week 17, and the Browns beat up Washington on the road. And I don't see any reason to believe the Commanders are getting better in this offseason other than maybe just from moving on from Carson Wentz. And the Jets at 20, yeah, the Browns should have beat the Jets last year. But listen, when it comes to the Browns in 2023, I'll eat crow if I'm wrong, but Deshaun Watson is going to pop off in 2023, guys. I think too many people out there are forgetting the Browns have an unbelievable amount of talent on this roster. It just has to be put together. And it's tough to put puzzles together in the NFL. But they've got all the pieces, okay? I'm not concerned about this team moving in 2023. We're talking about a 7-win Browns team that dramatically underachieved and had Watson for 6 games. Imagine Watson with a full offseason and a full season, and this cast and crew around him. Nick Chubb in the backfield, Amari Cooper, Myles Garrett. Hopefully Denzel Ward bounces back with a bit of a schematical change, and we get him out of zone and get him more comfortable in man-to-man. That right there is 19th best in the NFL. I don't buy it. I do not buy it. Now, I want to know what you guys think about this one, though. Over or under 9.5 wins for the Browns in 2023. Let me know in the comment section below if you think the Browns are going to be double-digit win team or single-digit win team with an O for over or U for under. Before we go, you know the new segment we are rolling out here on the show. It is Name a Random Browns Player for making it to the end of the video. AFX Apocalypse, I know you're an OG at the channel. You're next one up. I liked your Colt McCoy Random Brown. I think there's a lot of quarterbacks who have played for the Browns. Colt McCoy, definitely a random one. Hey, comment a random Browns player in the comment section to be featured on a future show.